do it, we might miss something.
Yeah, but I don't want to, give up anything that you haven't actually found out. But okay, let's start from the beginning. And I have to say I don't have my notes here, which is why I was hesitant to run from here. So we might have to retcon stuff later. But I'm pretty sure that what I'm about to tell you is accurate. Okay, so most of you started this whole thing at a funeral of Professor Lorrimore, who was part of your life in some way or another, a mentor, a colleague, major influence on your life in some way. And he had passed away from what at first looked like it was just a minor accident, but as you soon found out, may have been something more sinister. And besides saving an entire village, maybe even a county, from being overrun by malevolent spirits, you also managed to find out that there is a weird, or there was a weird cult after, not necessarily after the professor, but after something in the Harrowstone prison ruins. I don't think you ever found out what it actually was that they came for. Do you remember?
We only knew that they did something to unshackle the spirits, I believe, in that
Yeah.
Harrowstone, but I don't think we even learned their name.
No, you did learn. You did learn because what they did, the wife of the dead warden of the prison told you that they took her husband's spirit.
Yeah,
Do you
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. So that's what they did. They took the spirit of the warden of the prison, and in doing so, maybe unwittingly, but they also took the warden of the spiritual counterpart of that prison, which is why it was so important that you were there to stop the ghosts from taking over the world of the living. From Harrowstone and Ravengro, the town that goes with it, you decided to make your way to Lepidstadt based on a request by the dead professor who had asked you to return some books to an old friend of his, Judge. Sorry, Embreth Daramid, one of the high judges of Lepidstadt. You happened to hitch a ride, basically, on the carriage of one Evelyn Throd, who joined you for the journey and for much more after, because once you got to Lepidstadt, whoa, that was a surprise.
I thought I had muted the microphone and I just let it rip. Sorry about that.
I guess your dog mic is still on. So in Lepidstadt, you soon got entangled in the ongoing trial of the beast of Lepidstadt itself. The monstrous construct that is prowling the streets of Lepidstadt in all of the urban myths of that part of the country had been captured after it broke into the local university and had stolen something, or at least something was lost afterwards. And so it was charged with the theft of this artifact, which you found out was called the Sea Sage Effigy, which to this day has not been returned to the university and is still missing. But the theft, of course, was just a minor offense compared to the murders that the beast was charged with in that very same trial. Taking over the mantle of the beast's defenders, or defense attorneys, basically, you found out that the beast not only is not a monster, but is a quite sensitive, conscious being that may have just been misunderstood by the more or less ignorant populace of the city, but also that it didn't do any of the murders it was accused of. So it looked like, oh yeah. So you managed to solve this mystery, and you managed to sway the public opinion, or at least the opinion of the judges, in a way so that the beast was actually set free. And as a thank you, the beast had asked you to go and meet again at its father's castle, the Schloss Karomark, which was a little bit out of town, and it was hoping that that would be a better place for it to actually show its gratitude, or for its father to show its gratitude, because the people of Lippstadt were not fully supportive of letting this beast of legend just walk scot-free. So that was your next stop, just paying a friendly visit to the remote Schloss of Count Alpon Karamark, which I guess I never gave you the handout of that. That's what he looked like. Who was something of an inventor and an alchemist, and that is also the reason why the beast called him father, because he actually created the beast. But as you learned, it was not the only thing that he created, and many of his creations had taken over the Schloss, which was otherwise deserted and in disarray and chaos, because, again, that, as you later found out, agents of the same cult that was involved in the events in Harrowstone had come through here as well. You have learned the name of the cult, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, we did. The Whispering Way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so members of that cult had come through here, broken into the Schloss, taken over the apparatus that the Count had made to control the beast. Apparently, he didn't trust his own creation enough to not have this sort of insurance to be able to take control of it when he needs to. And the theory goes that they used the beast to break into the university, steal the sea sage effigy, then somehow make the handover and frame the beast for the theft, and then just let the string of events run its course, thinking that they could get away undetected in the chaos of the trial. And they would have almost succeeded if it hadn't been for you. Which they are also apparently aware of, because assuming that the author of the letters that you've been receiving is a part or a member of that cult, then they are very aware of you and your involvement in all of this. And the tone of those letters, two of which you have received so far, I believe, has turned from, or it has started to turn from amused back in the first letter from Harrowstone, sort of mockingly amused about your involvement, into slightly annoyed and almost openly threatening in the second letter. Yeah. So they came here a while ago, something like 12 days to 14 days, and you know where they're headed next, because luckily the Count had somehow overheard them talk about the Shadowwood. And from the Schloss, there really is only one path to take through the werewolf-infested Shadowwood, which is called the Silent Path. It's an ancient and rarely used hunting trail that's one of the most direct and covert routes through the Shadowwood, which is marked in places with strange bone fetishes and runs for several hundred miles through the forest, crossing both the Bustrel and the Karlskroa rivers, and passing by a place called Ascanor Lodge, which is a little bastion of civilization, and actually comfort in the midst of this otherwise quite wild and almost feral forest. Standing here at the edge of the Shadowwood is almost like staring into another world. Ominous, towering pine trees blot out the sunlight, allowing only occasional splinters of light to pierce through. Within this dimness, broken branches and occasional shrubs growing up through fallen trees create shadowy illusions, both wondrous and haunting. Apart from pallid lichens, colorful fungi, feather moss, and wintergreen, little else grows in the forest. The Shadowwood possesses an eerie stillness, only occasionally lifted by the sounds of passing birds and small animals scurrying across the dry pine needles littering the forest floor. And that's where we're going to start this adventure. That is not to say that you didn't have an opportunity to shop and supply back in Lippstadt before we got here. So if you want to do that in a little tiny flashback, we can do that.
Well, I believe we have already made most of our purchases back way then.
Okay.
Back way when, well, the last time.
Okay. Well, in that case, you start your journey. I would assume in Evelyn's carriage, right?
Well, if she will have us, then sure.
I've become accustomed to such comfort.
Of course, take the carriage. Oh,
No.
Nothing. Save it for later.
The carriage goes slow because the path would be impossible to find if it wasn't for the shallow grooves left behind by the wheels of the wagons that have come before. And it is slow going as you make your way through the woods, when at some point a soft, haunting melody of a harp drifts through the air. It seems to emanate from a ruined stone watchtower in a small clearing a little way off the road. The tower stands about 3 stories tall. Blood ivy and grayish-green lichen blanket the stonework of the tower's crumbling exterior, while passing winds whistle softly through its darkened, gaping windows. As you pass by, I would like a will save from everyone. Love to kick off an adventure with a will save.
I have one question for
Sure.
everyone. A will save. Oh, you know what? Never mind. Let's do the will save. I'll worry about the other stuff.
We should
Sorry, I'm just reviewing my sheet and I keep seeing things. I'm like, I have to ask about this.
Yeah.
beware the harp, the brother and the beauty, Prince Corum. We'll see.
Okay. Anthony, do you get to roll twice, or was that a misclick?
One of them is for Mr. Muntianu.
Right, but you you have two in the first one. There are
Oh,
two
I'm
rolls.
sorry. No, I don't know what happened there.
Okay, so we'll use the first one. Geier?
Yeah, 1 second. I was just trying to make sure if this is actually my
Okay.
good sheet, but I think so.
So, the carriage stops as Mr. Montiano pulls in the reins and makes the horse abruptly stop in its tracks. And Arronax, you're glad he did, because that melody, it's what is that? What could, in a forest like this, what could produce such a sweet and heavenly song?
It's
You feel the strong urge to step out of the carriage and walk on, check out that watchtower and see what it is.
indeed, it's utterly fascinating. I have never thought such music could be possible in a place like this.
And as you look out through the window, you see that Mr. Muntiano is already climbed off the driver's seat and is slowly stumbling and walking over
Yeah,
to that tower.
Aronax will call him out as some Mr. Montiano. Wait, someone, don't go alone. Wait for me. I will, and I will also try to. Someone, yeah, don't go alone. It will be dangerous. We should investigate it together.
Are you sure we want to check that here?
What? What do you mean? Can't you hear it?
Says Aronax already through the door.
Yeah.
Mr. Muntianu, where is it you think you're going? Does he respond or?
He doesn't even turn around.
Evelyn's gonna chase after him. She's gonna throw open the door, and she's like slipping on her heels. She probably had them off while they were traveling, and she's like fretting her way out. Has to pick up her dress so it doesn't drag in the dirt. You're supposed to be driving the cart. We're to make it to the lodge very soon.
You chase after him, but he's like brisk walking, almost jogging now towards the tower. You're having a hard time catching up. You still a few yards behind him, but you can hear him whisper now, and he just keeps uttering, "So beautiful, the music, so beautiful."
Emaírel is going to step out and try to secure the horses to something.
Okay. Yeah. Throw the reins over a branch somewhere.
Does Evelyn hear any music?
You hear the music. You hear that harp
Okay.
music, but it doesn't have that effect on you. It makes you feel uneasy though. Because you succeeded at a will save. So
Okay.
you know that there is some allure that
Well,
you would just.
I never hired you for your brains, but this is ridiculous. Come on, and she's gonna try to like grab him roughly.
And
Maybe
he's
give
gonna.
him a light slap on the cheek if she can catch up to him.
Okay, wait.
Wait,
When you
wait,
try that, he just kind of shoves you, pushes you off,
Lady,
and tries to muscle his way past you.
That was uncalled for.
No, Arronax, you pay no attention to that. You've totally fixated on the music in that tower, and you have to get there.
Geier, I think we have to deal with something here.
Interfering with the free will of a man? Maybe there is
Sure.
something to that music. I'm
Sorry,
joking. No, of
discard
course we
that.
have to stop him. Like, what good can come of this?
Pretty sure the free will is already interfered with.
It was a bit of a joke. And Geier will try to restraining.
Okay. Yeah, so catching up with Arronax and trying to grapple him.
Not grapple, but kind of like interfering clumsily because physical stuff is.
Yeah. Well, in that case, if you're not gonna do a proper grapple, basically, that and just kind of try to reason with him, he's just gonna walk right past you, not even look at you.
And we clearly see they're headed for the tower, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, they're also mumbling something about the music and the tower.
Well, I guess we have no choice then to check what is happening over there.
Actually, I will daze him.
Okay. So that's a will save again by Arronax?
Well, considering that my will save is my worst one, so
If Evelyn sees
Oh,
Geier
doesn't-
preparing, damn it.
Sorry.
yeah.
But Arronax has more than 5 hit points, 5 hit dice, so he's not affected.
Oh. Evelyn is going to fix Mr. Montiano with a pointed stare, and she's going to cast Oppressive Boredom on him.
Hey. So you roll the save.
Yeah, passive boredom seems to be our go-to solution for any problem.
It stops them in their tracks. I mean, that's hard to argue
Yeah.
with. And the stare. Oh God, it's been so long. I think it's a -2.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Just a -2. Oh, she's already pretty bad at will save. So. Oh no! Wait. Yeah, that's correct. But it's actually a 12 from him.
Yeah, that looks like a fail.
Yeah.
Okay. So he stops what he's doing and just sighs in boredom, turning around, looking at Evelyn with a blank stare, and just goes.
Now,
And
be a
stands
good
silent.
boy and stay right here while we get a hold of the doctor.
Yeah, at this point, the doctor will probably be a little ways ahead. Like I said, the tower's 300 feet from the road, so we're still not even halfway over there. But yeah, it takes a quick jog to catch up with him. And he's still single-mindedly trudging along to get to that tower.
Do I have to cast it again?
It could be the wind in the ruins, but it feels so natural and.
Can I try daze again, or
No, he's immune. He
not-
has
it's not
5 or
he's
more hit dice.
immune.
Doctor, really, it's not that interesting of a song, Evelyn says, and stares and casts Oppressive Boredom again.
That's another will save.
Yes.
Ah,
I guess it's kind of derivative. The doctor realizes
yeah. I mean,
and also stops where he is.
his eyes like just unfocus a little bit, stare into the distance, and
Yeah, but the music continues to play, of course. How long does the oppressive boredom last?
It's a round by round thing. They have to keep failing their saves, so I guess at any point they could actually it only lasts for
well, it's round by round, so it's
Yeah.
1
rounds.
round per level. So it's quite brief,
Okay.
but she's hoping it's just enough to break their fixation on it.
Okay, but they have to save every round.
Yeah.
But do we have to save from the
Yeah.
music every round or no? Or not? Or maybe
No, the
one
music
time?
you only save once versus the music, and right now, the boredom is sort of canceling out the fascination effect. But once the boredom is gone, you will again be fascinated without any additional save.
Yeah,
'Cause
and and yikes.
It's
Okay.
all overlapping durations. So at this point, Mr. Montiano is going to have to roll another save because the round has passed.
Someone do me a favor and plug their ears or something.
Geier,
Uh,
Geier instantly just like he knows this.
While this is happening, Emaírel is going to take a minute to send his little spying guy to the tower and try to see if there's anything of note.
Okay, you send your mind's eye to check out the tower, and you see that indeed it is completely ruined. Let me see if I can already take you to that place. Yes. Yep.
And I can't plug my own music
And
because I'm too bored, right?
Inside the ruined tower, you see long, taut strands of shimmering silk that fill almost all of the inside. They form an intricate pattern running from floor to ceiling. There are about half a dozen large cocoon-like shapes that hang from the ceiling, suspended above the tower's hard-packed dirt floor. In the far corner, between two larger chunks of rubble, a wide burrow opens into the ground, also covered in webs. And you see that some of these webs are vibrating, and that's what's causing this harp-like music.
Hmm.
You don't see anything
Any
that
creature.
anything that strikes them, though.
Okay. But the burrow seems like it could lead to some underground cave or something, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, he's going to catch up to
Okay, what's the speed of your eye again?
It is 60, I think. Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, then we're gonna move back to the scene of
60 feet, yeah.
Okay, so then we have to move back to the scene of Evelyn trying to keep both the Doctor and Mr. Montiano incredibly bored so they don't continue to walk into their possible doom. Mr. Montiano has failed again, okay. But yeah, now another round will have passed, so Evelyn, your turn.
Evelyn will, I guess, try to muffle the doctor's ears with something. I don't know. Maybe she's got some sort of earplug she uses to cancel out some of the noise of the carriage. Just some
beeswax,
some little wax or something like that. Exactly. Cotton balls. Maybe try to shove them in Arronax's ears.
Okay. Yeah, we'll assume that he accepts that since you are his ally. It's not like he's gonna fight you for it.
He takes no action this round anyway, so.
I see. Okay. What is Geier doing?
Geier is being very incompetent to try to keep up with the Doctor and not really knowing how to stop the Doctor from trudging on and like stuttering and just being incompetent. Like stop, and covering his ears.
Okay.
Does it work?
And in that case, Mr. Montiano has to do another will save against Evelyn. It's boredom fell, and the Doctor. I'll give you I'll give you another will save against the spell at a bonus, because, I mean, you're still going to hear some of the music. And
I'm not gazing at him anymore. I'm not gazing.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to help, Doctor. It seems to help. You still have a strong urge to go to that tower, but you can keep your legs from taking you there. While Mr. Mungiano, just kind of the listless expression on his face fades, and his eyes become kind of starry again, and he turns towards the tower and starts hustling and falls into a run to get to the tower.
Geier, can you do nothing about that?
Can he
What do you expect me to do? Restrain him?
can you daze Mr. Montiano?
Sorry, I'll be back in just 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It's the kid. Just putting him down.
All right.
Just saying goodnight.
Yeah. I suppose in that case, Arronax will. Well, I mean, we need to. Some of this. Yeah, this music is enchanting. We need to stop it. And he will also break into the run, trying to outrun Mr. Montiano while preparing his bomb while on the run.
When I said stop him, I didn't mean blow him up.
Well, not blow him up, blow the Harper up. Well.
Sorry, no false alarm. But in 5 minutes, I'll just go for a second. Thing is, like, none of my spells can really help, and I can't physically restrain him. So, other than tripping or tying his legs, what do you want me to do?
Well, at this point, it doesn't really matter, because Mr. Mundiano and Arronax are gonna make their way to the tower, and I guess I don't think that Arronax will be significantly faster than Mr. Mundiano, so he's probably gonna get there first. But as soon as he steps into the tower, the music all of a sudden stops. And he kind of blinks, snaps out of his fascination, and realizes what he got himself in. And he turns around to look at Arronax, and then he raises a hand, and his mouth, when all of a sudden from the back comes shooting a ball of web, and it goes and sucks him back into the tower, out of sight. Gone.
Oh boy.
Wait, what?
Oh boy.
What are you doing in there after him? I just hired that man.
Can I cast Detect Magic?
Sure, but it takes a few rounds to focus and fade out all the auras and stuff.
I'm not gonna be much use, like, physically rescuing him, so might as well be informed as we go in.
Well, right now you're still 300 feet away from everybody else, because right now, as far as I can tell, you're still in the carriage.
No, I was constantly following along, like, being like,
okay.
Stop, and trying to do the days and
That's true.
stumbling along.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
Sorry. Yeah, that's why I said, like, not actually grappling, but incompetently trying to hold him back.
Oh, right,
but without much, not actually, because I know it's not gonna.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so he got sucked into the dark recesses of the tower by some strange web attack.
Emaírel is going to send his eye after.
You don't see him on the first floor. So, do you want to send it into the warren?
Yeah.
I wish you hadn't.
Yeah.
Because what you see is stomach turning. Bloated white segments of a maggot's body erupt in a torso of mixed feminine and insectile features. Pale humanoid skin and carapace meld together beneath a face with segmented eyes and mandibles, chittering a song of clicks and hisses as overlong carapace claws weave cords of thick webbing between them as it starts to string Mr. Munteanu, who just has a blank expression on his face and is pale as a sheet, into a cocoon. And yeah, did I tell you that it's huge?
Oh wow.
Neglected that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 18 feet long.
What the fuck?
Well, I
That
gotta
is
Google
gross.
that. 18.
It's 6 meters.
Okay. Oh shit.
Mr. Emaírel, are
Uh.
you still heavily armored? Most heavily armored among us?
I guess so.
Good. Can you please stand in front of me before I finish this? And like Arronax will pull out the blood red vial from his jacket and he will take his mutagen, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's not how I was going to test it, but I suppose we don't really have a choice. And well, suppose I will drink the Constitution mutagen that I supposedly prepared before. And it will be, first of all, the feral mutagen and unstable mutagen. I believe so.
Well, Emaírel is going to relay the horrors that he witnesses while trying to figure out if he knows anything about that sort of creature.
That will be a knowledge dungeoneering.
Of course.
Yeah, Evelyn is also going off of this description.
Okay. Same thing.
She's not trained in it.
Actually,
Okay. No, both of you, I mean, you've heard of giant spiders and of giant caterpillars and stuff like that, but a giant maggot person? No.
Actually, Dr. Arronax is trained in engineering.
What's that?
Arronax is trained in engineering.
Okay, yeah, maybe he has heard of something like that. Ooh, but there is an old folk tale that Arronax remembers that his parents told him once about the weaver worm, which is not just an animal, but in fact a foul servant of the goddess of disease and gluttony herself. Sometimes they're also just called weavers, and they're terrifying abominations, combining the features of predatory insects, monstrously huge larvae, and deathly pale humanoids. Yeah, so you have heard of them, you have heard about the way that they lure their victims close to their lairs by using their webbing as strings to play on. And yeah, it all fits your recent experience. Makes total sense if only you would have thought of that earlier. They are said to eat men and other humanoids, and their nails can secrete a potent paralytic agent, which is probably why your parents told you about it. Which is able to paralyze its victims, so they can't even fight back as they watch in horror while they're being rolled up in the cocoon, waiting to be devoured later.
And this, Dr. Arronax, by the way, meanwhile, he drank his transformative potion, and you can see that it works a little bit differently from the other times. Well, once again, it is unstable, so his skin becomes even more reddish and metallic than it was usually, because it becomes +1, +2 natural armor, and his frame bulks up. But then again, his nails start growing into talons, and his jaw becomes like even more like square and protruded, showing up quite prominent underbite and a bit of fangs even. And his voice changes a little bit when he says from behind you, "That is called the wither worms. Nasty creatures. Mr. What's his name? Mr. Montaigne might not last long into their lair. We should take our chances there and to blast it into oblivion. Don't you think so?"
Well, yes, get to it.
Good. I'm glad we are in accord on this one. Mr. Emaírel.
How did the underground level look? How large?
Yeah, I can actually show you that.
Yeah. Mr. Emaírel, would you be so kind as to draw its attention while I'll pellet it with my fiery destruction?
Sure.
Wonderful.
Did that work?
Yeah.
So it's a.
Work?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you show us roughly where like, is it a drop or is it walkable down?
It's a drop. It's a pretty steep drop. It's a big tunnel. As you can see, it's more than 5 feet in diameter. It's like a well, basically.
Okay.
And the creature is taking up most of it. I guess this would be actually to scale, if we would put it here.
Let's see.
So would Emaírel be able to stab it like from here with a reach weapon?
You might. I don't know, but yeah, it's questionable that you would get that far, given that there's all sorts of webbing inside the tower. That would probably tip it off to your proximity.
Well, I can remove this webbing, but it will most definitely tip it out.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a question of stealth, more of just reach.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, you're still plenty of feet away, is what I'm saying. I guess. So, yeah.
Well, okay then. I'll try to hold it off, and you burn it as fast as possible.
Indeed. Don't worry. I still have my extracts prepared in case if you get any sort of permanent harm.
Well, whenever you're ready.
I am ready right now. Do it.
He's going to take a look at Geier and the lady.
Do I have actually
The
precise bombing? Mutagenic form, extra discovery, healing bombs, precise bombs. Yes, it's okay. So nobody will get hurt except that thing, and maybe Mr. Montaigne.
Oh,
Geier will be back soon.
I'm back. I'm here.
So our when Emaírel will shoot you, do you look like ready? Not?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Evelyn's drawing out this hand crossbow, and she's loading it up. She's going, "Get on with it! Come on! This carriage isn't going to drive itself."
So he's going to start approaching. While doing that, he is going to take an instant to bless his blade, well, his spear,
Okay.
and make it that thing bane.
Mm-hmm.
That thing bane, so aberration.
Aberration. Okay.
Okay. What does your approach look like? Do you charge ahead or do you slowly?
He's walking up normally, shield
Okay.
and spear.
Okay. So when you get to about here is when you first have to deal with the webbing, strands of weaving.
Okay, so they're like difficult terrain or something.
Well, they fill out almost the entire tower, as you can see. So
Okay.
you can't just duck under them or anything like that. You would actually have to clear them away somehow.
Okay.
They're quite thick, obviously coming from such a big creature. You could cut through them probably, might be able to burn them, but somehow you need to get rid of them.
Okay, let's burn them then.
But like we do see from here, we do see the cocoons, right?
Yes, you see them dangling there. Some of them quite large, actually.
Yeah. Well, just in case some unfortunate creature might be rescuable from there, let's not go straight for the fire. He's going to try to clear it out with his spear.
Okay. So you carefully prod and poke at it, sending tremors, almost imperceptible by you, through this network of webs. And a moment later, from the dark hole in the ground, that creature comes shooting up with its head darting out of that hole, and its grotesquely large, maggot-like body following right after. And we're going to roll for initiative. There's no point really in doing this on a map, but well, I'll say that this is roughly its space.
Size doesn't matter.
Does Muntianu get a initiative roll, or is he?
He's properly wrapped up and
He's rolled,
paralyzed.
yeah.
Oops. He's rolled, yes, exactly. 28. Okay, Emaírel, Evelyn, Dr. Geier, you're missing?
Yep. For some reason I didn't click my token.
If you turn that into a token macro, then you can't forget to click your token.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to, because my Roll20 sheet is one level lower. So I was trying to get it up to speed, but it wasn't really working.
Well, then...
But yeah, so it's the initiative is done.
Alright. Yeah, so it comes shooting up and immediately goes to attack. Yeah, it tries to bite you. Of course, it has plenty of reach. And is not going to let somebody disturb its meal. 28 to hit.
Yep. 24 too.
That's 14 points of damage, but you're lucky that it was a bite. The claws follow right after. 24 is a hit, you said, for 12 points of damage, and a fortitude save.
Ah.
Uh-oh, you're paralyzed. So it just lashes out at you with its long claws, and at first it doesn't even hurt that much, but then soon after, all of your muscles clench up, and you can't move anymore, not even blink. Geier?
Geier will. I'm just sorry, I guess I'm checking Ghost Whip. But no, that is for ghosts. And so Geier will. Geier doesn't know much about this creature, right?
Well, I believe only
assuming.
what Arronax told them.
Yeah. So would something like this? Ask it. Geier will try to get into the creature's mind and scare it away.
With creatures with 6 or more hit dice are immune. Are you sure you want to try that at level?
Don't know
Eight?
how many hit points it had. Sorry,
Well, it roughly equates to levels, and you are right now at level
7.
8? 7?
7.
Yeah.
So, seeing that creature, do you think it's below level than you?
No, sorry. I just got put in the spot. I'll pass turn. Let someone more prepared do it. Sorry, I have to sort out my spells and.
Okay, so we'll just have you delay for now. And then it's Evelyn's turn.
Seeing the way it just demolished Emaírel, Evelyn's reconsidering her train of thought. She's going to swift action gaze at it. Make sure she's well back behind the doctor, and cast Eagle Splendor on herself.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Emaírel, on your turn. You are paralyzed, but its turn. Okay. So give me another will save. The 42 save, sorry.
4. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You're still paralyzed. So that's bad. But it could be worse, right? You could be paralyzed and rolled up in a cocoon. Doctor.
Okay. So while Lady Evelyn gets behind the doctor, doctor gets behind Emaírel. So we have the cascading levels of cover now. Yeah, and see, he like says, "It's alright, Mr. Emaírel. You will be fine. I mean, just stand right here, and everything will be just splendid." And well, he says it, he will shake a little vial in his hand, which will spark, and he will toss it right at the creature.
Okay.
My bombs. I have 11 of them.
Versus touch, the first one hits.
I think
No.
I think I only get one per round because I need fast bombs to full attack with them.
I see. Okay, so that one hits, which is 19 fire. Yeah, that's just 19 points of damage then. Okay.
And since it is huge, I suppose, well, all the splashing goes just around her.
Yeah, so the splash damage blasts some of the webbing away, sends the cocoons dangling, singes them, but everything is quite soggy to the point where it's disgusting. But it also protects it from the fiery blast, at least, but from this one. Okay, Emaírel is paralyzed, that's correct, but I really only need that right before his turn.
Um,
Okay,
go-
the thing, the weaver worm, is now shooting its web at Emaírel, which should be pretty easy. What's your AC right now?
Well, paralyzed. I imagine it's not gonna be.
Not gonna be good. It's not gonna be 20, right?
No.
Okay. So it hits the web, just kind of goes splotch all over Emaírel, and again with a sudden jerky movement, Emaírel is dragged back to the creature and into its clutches,
Oh, wait a second.
where it
Uh,
starts spinning him into a cocoon that it pushes out of its disgusting maggot body. That was its turn.
wait 1 second.
Geier, you're still delaying?
Nope, Geier knows what to do.
Okay.
Okay.
And Geier focuses on the creature, staring at it
Oh.
intently.
Okay. Fortitude saved by that creature is okay. I see.
Let go of Emaírel.
And it makes it safe. Does that mean just negate it?
Speaking,
Doesn't say that. Yeah, it just negates. Okay.
yeah, speaking of staring, does Evelyn stare at the creature with her painful stare, or
Yes, the painful stare was active, but she didn't trigger it.
okay.
So
Yeah. So you
Fail.
you cast the spell. Cast the spell at the creature, but it is too hardy to take notice of your necromantic powers. Move action.
I'm alright at this distance.
Okay.
I don't see any reason to get any closer to it.
Move away action. Evelyn.
This is probably a terrible idea. Evelyn is going to cast.
Yeah, perceive.
Oh boy. She's really debating. She doesn't know much about this creature. Would Arronax have mentioned what kind of creature it is? What its type is?
Emaírel assumed it is an aberration, so I suppose it is.
Well, I assume that you told Emaírel
Yeah.
it was an aberration.
So yeah, let's assume that we have been told that it was an aberration.
Okay, let's hope it doesn't have any vermin-like traits. Going to. Shit. You guys are. You guys can hold out for another round, right?
Well, as long as it's Emaírel, then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna cast Intensify Psyche then on myself. That's all. And move to 25 5 feet per 2 levels, 7. So 2 levels, 2 for 15. I'm gonna move to 40 feet range with the thing, and cast Intensify Psyche upon myself, and that's it.
Okay. Okay. Emaírel,
I'm actually
you can.
just about at 40 feet.
Emaírel, that is another fortitude save, please.
Question: Can he take actions at this point?
So actions. All purely mental actions, I believe.
I
Or
guess
what
it
does
is.
What does the condition
SP
description say?
is SP spell-like or
SP is spell-like, but the question is what the condition says. If it says no actions or if it says purely mental. I think it says purely mental. Pretty sure.
Paralyzed.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Paralyzed.
Conditions. Here it is.
Can take purely mental actions.
Okay. So unless it has a component of some sort, you're good.
It's a swift action.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, psychic spells actually have only thought and
Yeah.
emotional components, so they all mental.
It's not a spell, but it's a power, a spell-like
Okay.
power.
I think you're good.
So he is going to take a swift mental action to grant himself a bonus on this roll.
Okay, but you take the fortitude save first, and
Yep.
then you can do that.
It's actually a bonus to the fortitude save.
Right, but you should have done that last round, because you do this. The save is you do at the very beginning of your round. So unless you can take that that action out of turn, for this round it doesn't help you. So for this round, we'll just need a fortitude save first. Maybe you make it anyway.
It's an immediate action that you can take in
Okay.
reaction to a save. Okay, yeah. I
Okay,
was looking
okay,
at that.
perfect.
I was looking at a different thing. Okay. So, boom, and there's a +3 to that.
So
What's
it's a
that have?
19. That
Yeah.
does help. The paralysis wanes for a moment, although now you of course have the problem of being wrapped into a web
Yeah.
by a giant maggot. So you would have to try to break free somehow before you can properly move.
And so I guess it's already advanced wrapping, not just like just the first layer.
Yeah, you're wrapped up pretty tightly, and the thing is holding on to you as well. So it's a pretty tough thing to get.
So I guess what would that be? A strength check?
An escape artist or a strength check?
Okay. And since I took an immediate action, I can take a swift action now. So strength.
It's okay. Being caught in a web, you take a -4 penalty on breaking free from the web. So you don't make it. You try to wriggle yourself out, and you flex all your muscles trying to break the strong constraint, but nope.
Burn it, please.
Doctor.
Okay. Well, I hear you. Well, don't worry. That was my plan all along. Yeah, Doctor will burn it.
Okay.
This time he will not exclude Emaírel from splash damage because, well, apparently that's what he asks for. 17.
Versus touch, that's a hit. Goes boom for 18 points of damage.
I will trigger the painful touch this time. Painful stare, so another 3 points.
Okay. And Emaírel is part of it. Yeah, some of the webbing gets burned by the bomb, which should make it easier to get free, but it doesn't like clear you.
And I will take a 5-foot step back, just in case.
The thing just takes Emaírel and just kind of dumps him into the warren, and he rolls down and bounces off the walls, lands on the floor. Takes 6 points of damage because there's really no way for you to steer your fall, so you hit the ground hard, and the worm comes worming out of the tower a little bit, just far enough to be able to get to the doctor. And try to
what the fuck?
cut you. Is a 24 to hit?
Yeah, and I suppose Doctor dies again. But, well, yeah, 24 does hit.
Okay, so that's 11 points of damage, and I will need a fortitude save.
Uh-huh. Fortitude save. Now, fortitude saves are my good saves.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, you see that the creature strikes you quite painfully, and part of its nail breaks off, but it doesn't get lodged in the wound. Instead, it just falls on the forest floor.
Hmm.
Gaia.
Air suddenly seems to be enveloped in eerie green energy as burst of power erupt from his hands.
Yay. Only 3?
How much-
Nine.
I think it should be 5
Sorry.
now. No?
I may have not updated that.
It should be 4 at 7th level.
Well, we are...
Says
right.
so in the
Oh,
description.
right. We're not 10th level, sorry. I
Yeah.
forgot.
So just roll another d4 plus 1 for now, and
Yep.
then you can adjust the macro.
How much damage did Arronax actually take from all that?
Well, I was told 11, so I
Oh, okay. That's right. It
deducted
wasn't a full
11, yeah.
attack.
Yeah, I only have one macro, so I pick whatever rolls apply. 3 on top of that, so it's 12 points as the magic missiles shoot from Geier's hand, looking like little skulls, maybe?
Yeah, that's just like this orbs of necrotic energy that just seems almost poisonous.
Ooh. They hit the creature and they blast holes into it, causing 12 points of damage. Evelyn.
All right. I think this is enough messing around. Evelyn is going to cast a spell and hope that it actually affects this thing. Because if not, well, then I'm useless anyway. So, Evelyn kind of stands there and presents herself as, let's say, sumptuously as possible, and says, "Hey, you there! Come and get me!" and casts Reckless Infatuation upon the creature.
Okay, will save, I assume,
Trying to beat it at its own game, I see.
right?
The DC is currently 20, and it has a
Okay.
-2.
It has a -2, so I'll put
Yep.
that into the roll. But is there any bonus because you're different types, or are we totally cool with that?
It's all good as long as
It makes it 23.
Are you kidding me? What is its will save?
7.
Wow.
Not 9, but it got a -2, so it's 7.
I had a 9. Okay. All right.
Well, I mean,
Um,
this thing does it
get
for
it
a
next
living,
time.
you know, so...
Exactly. It meddles with minds, so it has a strong mind of its own. That was the move action, or was that it?
I'm gonna stay put. That was disappointing.
Okay. Emaírel, I will need another fortitude save from you because you thought it was past, but then this kind of feeling of numbness flares back up. But you fight it successfully. Okay.
Okay,
Still trapped in that slightly burned cocoon, though.
2 consecutive saves.
Yes, the cocoon. Well, he's going to try to break out of it again. Oh, wait. Can I do that? Just a second. No, it would not help. So he is going to try again. So he's still completely immobilized. It's not like he could get one hand free or something.
No, you can't get a hand free. You might be able to roll over the floor, but that would be about it.
Okay, well, he's going to try that strength check again, and he is going to do his little precognition thing to get another bonus on this check. Let's see. With a +3, 19.
19, okay. Yeah, but with a -4, because you're trapped in the web, even though it's singed, it won't be enough to break out.
Do you have any...
Oh, well.
But it's starting to give way. Let's say that.
You could cut your own arm off, and maybe I could control it.
Great.
Might be worth.
Just an
Might be
idea.
worth-
Yeah,
Yep.
listen.
Yep. Aronax?
Yeah, listen, Geier, if he can cut his own arm off, then he can cut the web off, you know?
I'm just trying to inject some levity in the situation. It's horrifying.
Horrifying. I will show you what is horrifying. Aronax like pickles the claw of this beast from with his toe. Like this mutagen is incredible. I didn't feel a thing, but you will, and he will continue just pellet it with fire.
Okay. In that case, the creature gets an attack of opportunity as you prepare to throw the first bomb. And it's a 20 to hit.
No, 20 to hit will not hit because my natural armor is too strong now. It is 21 with my enchanted...
Okay, so it misses.
It will be more cool if it actually hits and it's another claw breaks on my armored skin. But that's not... Boom!
Whoa, critical hit for 42 points of damage. Or is that, do I have to add? No, that is the 42, not 16 plus 42. Yeah. Yeah, that's 42 points of damage. Devastating explosion. Maybe,
Evelyn,
well, whatever you did with that bomb, it definitely enhanced the effect. And the creature is holding on to its dear life, bleeding profusely from lots and lots of wounds.
Painful stare. Painful stare.
But its turn comes up, and
Wait,
let's see.
5 foot back. 5 foot back. Just well.
Okay. 5 foot back. It is. Yeah, it withdraws into the tower, and it moves into the warren, and then just kind of sits down on Emaírel. And Geier.
Geier is gonna go. Do I have to have visual range for the magic missile?
Yes, you need to see at least a tiny little bit of the creature that you want to missile.
And would Geier have seen that it's quite damaged?
It was very obvious that it was very, very wounded.
Well,
I mean, it has 1 hit point. You would definitely be able to tell that it's severely wounded.
Okay, so Geier goes like, "Oh no, you don't!" and comes close to the edge, just as close as he can see it, but you know.
Yeah, it comes shooting up, trying to, intimidate you, trying to scare you away as you cast the spell. And you shoot the missile straight at its face. But those are still just 3.
Oh, I'm missing one more, right?
And as the missiles hit the creature, its skin turns necrotic and where the missiles hit, and that is the last straw for the giant aberration. And instead of striking Geier, it just kind of hits the side of that burrow and then slides back down until it slumps into its warren and lands flat on Emaírel, on the cocoons that Emaírel and Mr. Muntiano are tightly wrapped in.
Emaírel is trying to contact whoever is out there. It's on me! It's on me!
Yeah, you just hear a muffled voice from somewhere under the maggot butt.
Did you do?
Geier will try to assist as much as he can.
Did you do?
Lifting up, it goes like, well, usually when I'm dragging people out of holes, they're dead. But this is a welcome change, my friend.
Yeah,
Now, up you go.
Yeah, let me in, Geier. I will. And Arronax will actually push Geier away as his wounds began to heal visibly right on him because
Almost effortlessly, it's like.
Yeah, because I'm using my spontaneous healing to heal 10 hit points now. And Arronax will climb down, and he will use his uncomfortably sharp claws to cut Emaírel out of the webs. Are you all
Give me a strength check. What is when you take 10? Where's your strength?
When I take 10, my strength I believe is 10.
You have a +0 strength.
Hmm?
You have +0 strength.
Yes.
Okay. The webs are quite strong. You can't just easily cut through them like that.
What now, Mr. Tough Guy?
Well, I mean,
And Emaírel, give me a fortitude save.
well, fine. I have a razor.
Whatever's happening out there. I mean, you could probably see these like shapes, shadows through the webbing. You can see darker spots where your allies are trying to open the cocoon. But then all of your muscles turn numb again, and you're paralyzed once more.
So I mean, can't I even use just a razor to cut it? Does it have hardness?
It doesn't have hardness, so using the razor.
Because I mean, since I'm using the feral mutagen, I actually have my claw attack, so I meant to use just my claws.
It has damage reduction 5.
Oh, then I can't use it.
Yeah, so that's why it doesn't really work.
Would a magic weapon?
No, it's
cut through
damage
the
reduction.
deer?
No, it's very solid, supernaturally so.
Wait, why does an object have damage reduction but not hardness?
No, but that's how it works.
That's weird.
Well, get him out of the hole for now. So
I guess-
Evelyn's standing behind all of this, looking absolutely fabulous, just waiting impatiently.
Just get out of here!
And then the doctor just keeps hacking and clawing and
I'm
and
literally chewing the scenery.
and there's a very feral quality to how the doctor is going about this. Not his usual methodical.
Emaírel, get out of there!
And at some point, you'll worry that he has already cut through the cocoon and might be mauling Emaírel himself.
Don't draw blood now.
And he was close to do that when you
Or if you
push
do,
him.
let me know.
When you finally push him away,
Mm-hmm.
and Emaírel's cocoon has been muscled open.
Is he alright? He should be alive.
When I need another fortitude save, Emaírel.
He's still paralyzed. Oh.
I'm never wrapping myself in a blanket again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've been fading in and out of paralysis while the doctor was pummeling your cocoon. and it's not good. You still feel it in you somehow.
Does can I actually make a heal check on him?
Yes, you can.
So Arronax then again shake off the restraining hands and say, "So let the head me. He needs a doctor." And I will try to use. Well, I do.
Okay.
I think I
Yeah.
do have the surgeon tools.
You inspect him and his wounds, and you notice that he was not so lucky. When the weaver worm struck him, one of its nails broke off and got stuck in the wound, and that's probably what's causing this ongoing waves of paralysis. So you could just rip it out, possibly hurting Emaírel a little bit in the process, or you could do the more surgical approach.
Well, I already have a set of surgeon tools, so
Right, so that would make sense. Then that will be another heal check, please.
another heal check. Stable.
Nice. Yeah. You very carefully and expertly dislodge the nail, and soon after, Emaírel, you realize that must have been it. You feel better.
Well, thanks for that.
There we go, Mr. Emaírel. Now drink this, and everything will be all right. And Arronax will basically administer him the cure moderate wounds potion.
Okay. So before we move on, I just wanted to give you the artwork that came with this encounter.
Oh, can you do it again? I clicked it. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Did it have a sword?
No. I guess nobody told the artist.
I hear that's a frequent problem they have.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously you have to tell the artist something, and then for some balancing reasons, you decide not to give a weapon, I guess.
Did they
'Cause you
tell
can-
the artist to give the fighter a shield or a door?
That's a tower shield.
What?
I'm just.
That's
Big
the best of
asinine.
both.
It's a door.
All right. Yeah, Mr. Montiano is still down there, though.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Oh, well. And yeah.
Well, Doctor, don't leave the job half finished.
Alright, he's back at it.
And again, you keep hacking and biting the webs and going, pulling on it. Just,
Yeah, I suppose at this point we can do it in a little more civilized fashion, but essentially, yes.
But still, just through sheer brutal determination, you free Mr. Montiano, who is still paralyzed. And yeah, another heal check to also get the piece of nail from his wound. Yeah. And soon after, Mr. Montiano comes to, and he blinks and looks druggedly at Evelyn, and kind of, for a second there, he doesn't seem to know where he is. He seems kind of surprised at everything. Very confused.
Next time, Mr. Montiano, I tell you to ignore the music. You ought to do so.
And he looks from one of you to the other, and when Evelyn speaks, he looks at her and he says, "Yes, ma'am."
Is he actually hurt?
He's hurt, yes. He got one full attack, basically, so he's down. He's an NPC, right? I don't think did we give him stats yet?
Yeah, he's statted.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
I will sacrifice just the cure light wounds potion on him.
Okay. So
Arronax will just toss him the vial, say, take this, you will feel better now.
How much damage did he actually take?
yeah, turn this here. That's how much damage. He would have taken 13 points of damage.
All right. Meanwhile, Doctor will look at the hanging cocoons and, well,
Okay.
would you think we'll take them off, maybe?
Were you just looking at them, or were you actually like inspecting them?
Well, Arronax intends to inspect them once he makes his witty remark.
Okay. All right. So, from the looks of it, just from the outside, you can already tell that there are different creatures in these cocoons. 3 of them are sort of on the smaller side. 1 is pretty large, and from the general shape, you think that it might be a horse that has been strung up. And 2 are roughly humanoid size, and all of them are hanging upside down.
Well, at first, Arronax will poke them a little bit to check for the vital signs, and then
They all just kind of dangle.
well, it seems to
That's
be
a noble sentiment, Doctor, but I think these people have been lunch for quite a while.
Yeah, I think it is a reasonable conclusion, but let's take a closer look. And well, he will try to take them off after all.
While he's doing that, Evelyn's gonna look around outside to see if there's any evidence of people having come past here recently.
Okay. A perception check on the outside. Investigation, and I didn't quite catch that, Carnes. So Arronax is opening all the cocoons. Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Okay. So yeah, again, great, a lot of effort to do that. It's going to take quite some time, which Evelyn uses to check the perimeter essentially, and you don't see any signs that anyone came through here all too recently. But it looks like it rained not too long ago, so you can't really say for sure beyond the last few days, maybe. You open up the cocoons, and indeed you are right. The large one contains a horse. The 3 kind of smaller ones contain goats, and the 2 human-sized indeed contain human corpses. They're in pretty severe stages of desiccation, but the more recent one is still carrying a sealed envelope, half soaked in blood.
Interesting. Does it say something on the envelope?
It's in pretty bad shape. The outside has been exposed to all sorts of nasty things, so you can't read anything on the outside.
Well, then Doctor just will open it.
You are going to open it?
Yes, he will open
it. Okay. So you break the seal,
Mm-hmm.
and indeed it is holding a letter which is also severely damaged, barely legible.
Mm-hmm.
You can try a linguistics check to see if you can make out what it says.
Do I have linguistics? I don't. Well, I only have +5 untrained.
Well, I mean, Geier would have been beside the Doctor trying to provide the rights to all the bodies that he's been uncovering.
Mm-hmm.
Can he assist with the linguistics?
Sure. I mean, you can also take your time with that if you want to.
Do you have actually linguistics trained?
Yeah.
Well,
At first, Geier was just doing the rites because that's his job, but then he started doing them because he got the impression that the doctor would not be entirely respectful of the
Yes.
recently departed.
yeah, doctor will not be respectful in this case.
No, wait. Allow me. Help
Well,
you.
you can actually read this. Oh, well then, sure.
I can try.
What does it say, Mr. Geier?
Okay, I have a +2 in linguistics, so
You have +2? Are you trained?
no, sorry, I meant
2 ranks.
I have 1 rank in linguistics,
Okay.
but that's a total for 2.
Oh,
Nice.
Mhm.
no, that's nice.
We have a hard time figuring out the details and context, but you do decipher 4 words. 2 are possibly a name, Echtmoor-Dravin, and the other is the name of a place you've already heard, Ascanor Lodge.
I see.
I say this out loud. Echtmoor Dravin, Ascanor Lodge. The rest I can't really make out, but hopefully this will be enough to give us an idea.
Well, if
Is this what you were expecting to find, Doctor?
well, I wasn't particularly expecting to find anything, but this will be something to talk about once we get to the lodge, I suppose. Whoever these people were, they. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Evelyn.
So go ahead.
Yeah, whoever these people were, they were connected to the lodge, so I suppose they would be saddened to learn their fate. I suppose.
If Evelyn is glancing over Geier's shoulder while he's interpreting this, does it look like there's more that could be gleaned from this given time, or does he seem to have gotten everything meaningful out of it?
You don't know enough about. I mean, if you were able to tell that, then you would probably be able to tell what would be possible to gain from it, right?
Well, and okay, and in that case, then Evelyn is not sure if Geier's done a complete job or not, so she's gonna take a hold of the letter and take 20 on it as we continue to ride. She'll be trying to piece through it more.
Hey,
Yeah, by the way, at this point, Doctor, while confirming that he will not be completely respectful, he will also just go through the pockets of these freshly deceased people to see if there's anything else on their person.
they have nothing on them, kind of to your surprise. Like not a penny in their pocket.
Well, I suppose in this case, Lady of the Grace will be their shepherd.
Rasma.
Anything else in the hole? Maybe?
Wants to check it out.
Not Lady Evelyn.
Well, yeah.
I mean, she might send Mr. Montaneo down there, but or Montiano.
No, it's all right. It's our kill. We should just see what it has for us. And Arronax will actually, with odd enthusiasm, will descend to see what's inside.
Okay. Well, the entire thing is covered in soft webbing, all the walls, the ceiling, and the floor.
Actually,
There are several lumps that bulge outward along the floor. It's not clear what makes it bulge like that.
Actually, you know what? Arronax will spend another bomb from basically not firebombing himself, but right in front of him, just to excluding himself from splash damage to clear up the webbing a little bit.
Okay, yeah, well, that definitely weakens it.
Yeah, there we go. Fire souls and many things, and it is a greatly underestimated tool of civilization. And he will try to clear up that strange webbed bulge in the cave. this time with his claws and dagger.
Okay. And you cut some treasure out of these lumps. Looks like the weaver worm, in some odd behavior, stashed its victim's treasure down here. And you could discover a potion, a ring that has a feather pattern all around its edge, and altogether 721 gold pieces in assorted coins.
Wonderful news, gentlemen and Lady Evelyn. Well,
That would be 180 gold pieces and 2.5 copper, or 2.5 silver each. 2 silver, 5 copper. There we go.
Exactly. And while down there, Arronax will take a measure of the ring for himself and climb right back up. Like, would you look at that, Lady Evelyn? I found myself something, a trinket.
Yeah, Evelyn snatches them from him and kind of eyes them. Do I have a praise? I do. I have a rank in it.
Okay. So you praise the ring and the potion?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the potion, I mean, that's hard to tell without knowing what it is. But a magic ring, a possibly magic ring, given the decor on it, and the state that it's in after being in that cave for so long, makes you think that it might be magic. It might be easily worth thousands.
Arronax will lick the cork of the potion to see what it does.
We
That was
lost
the
Sam, it seems.
36 alchemy. It's a potion of heroism.
Wonderful. It seems to be very appropriate. Emaírel, here we go. It's an essence of you.
Oh, Sam wasn't here to hear that.
Sorry, Discord died again.
Sorry.
Yeah, but you just got handed a potion of heroism by the doctor, and he said, "Here, this seems to be an essence of you."
Oh. Well.
Yeah.
Do we need to get those rings again?
Yeah. Speaking of rings, Lady Evelyn, he will just snatch the ring back. I believe that will be mine now.
Lady Evelyn, kind of. She's gonna detect magic as he's like handling the ring and see if she can figure out what the hell he's holding.
Yeah. Of course, it takes a few rounds, and then you zero in on its aura, which it has. And I will need a knowledge arcana.
Not my best.
No. Yeah, well, it is magic, but you can't. You would have to hold it, and you're still kind of upset that he just took it from you, that you can't focus.
Well, I could give it a look if you don't mind.
Of course. Arronax just well, he doesn't hand the ring him. He was I forgot the word. He stretches his hand out.
Mm-hmm. And Emaírel inspects the ring.
Yep.
Oh, you have this ability, right? That you just get all of it?
The cheaty one.
The cheat, yeah. Okay. This is a ring of feather falling. And I will just give you a link.
It's the ring that will stop me from falling into a waterfall again, you know?
Yeah, you should probably keep that one.
Exactly.
Well, hold on now. I believe we all played a part in defeating that horrible monstrosity.
Yes, but I fell into the waterfall twice.
I was gonna say that the twice. Yeah.
And perhaps you've forgotten, Doctor, that if it wasn't for my intervention, you would have blissfully gone strolling into that tower,
Well,
only to be wrapped up and strung up upside down yourself.
well, as you can also remember, it stopped playing as soon as poor Mister what's his name?
Montiano.
Mentiano, yes. As soon as it grabs someone, it stops playing. So I would have taken care of it.
Evelyn kind of just raises an eyebrow at him. Says,
Why?
"As you wish, but I hope you recall that I still am holding on to a little IOU that says that you have 250 gold pieces worth of debt to me. I'm expecting that returned at some point, and that ring is rather valuable."
Well, exactly. It is very valuable to me as as a further precaution from falling to the waterfalls. But don't worry, Lady Evelyn, you will be fully recompensed. At least in form of like this treasure, he will just hand his share of the gold, I suppose. He
The
really wants
180 gold?
Yeah.
Okay, she will take that and she will make a note down. Okay, it's 70 gold pieces left.
Good. So keep the account going. And I suppose it's time for us to get going.
Well, that's not actually the end of the session. That just plays every time we change to that screen. Okay, yeah. So you make your way back to the carriage. Mr. Montiano kind of sheepishly climbs back in the driver's seat, not making eye contact with Evelyn, while holding the door open for her before he does so. And then he goes, yeah, and he spurs the horses onward, and slowly the carriage continues on its way. You make your way onward for a good while until the carriage stops once more.
Hope there's no more enchanting melodies out there, Mr. Montiano.
Evelyn shouts from the back of the carriage, and you hear the muffled voice of Mr. Montiano come in through the windows. I think you'll want to look at this, ma'am.
I'll pop open a window and stick my head out.
But by the way, did an hour pass right now?
Yeah.
My mutagen is gone.
Oh, right. And Anthony, you said that Evelyn was looking at the document somewhere. I'll tell you later. But for now, just to stay in that moment, you look out the window and you see a pale corpse of a naked man hanging from a large yellow pine, bound to the trunk with rough cords.
Oh my god.
His mouth is stuffed with large pale purple flowers, and his wrists and ankles are swollen and dark with bruises marking where his bindings cut into his skin. But the large silver hunting knife embedded deep in his heart seems the most likely cause of death.
Wait, did
I
you
don't-
say large silver hunting knife?
Yes, I did. Do you want me to just keep going?
Oh no. Let's stop and observe the local traditions, shall we?
So
At least give this creature a proper rite of passage, if not burial.
Okay. So
I'm not sure this one deserves such a right.
Do we know anything about if there is any signification to the flowers in the mouth?
Well, you would have to go and take a look what they actually are to be sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Evelyn hops out and she's kind of like curious about this and approaches. She's like,
Okay.
Before we go too far, Emaírel is going to take like a quick look around, just like in case someone is crouching in the bushes nearby or something.
I am making sure you're not getting ambushed or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So from the carriage, you look out of every window in front of you to the sides. No, it doesn't seem like any eyes are on you.
Okay.
Just the eerie blackness of the Shadowwood.
Evelyn's
Okay.
gonna get
All right,
closer
yeah.
and inspect it.
Evelyn's,
She's kind of
Evelyn's,
she's like marveling at this like it's like some like local oddity.
and she daintily steps over the various roots and undergrowth that she has to get through to get to the tree. But there's one thing she doesn't step over, which snaps as she hits it with her ankle. And with the sound of several wires suddenly being sprung, a barrage of crossbow bolts from hidden crossbows mounted in the surrounding trees shoot at her.
At her in particular, or is it like in a line?
Is
At
there
her
a
in
save
particular.
or
Now I get an attack roll. 33 is obviously a hit, so you get 26 points of damage.
So,
Ouch.
ow?
wait, Lady Emaírel, watch out!
So yeah. But once this barrage it has run its course, everything returns to silence again.
How many crossbow bolts just hit her?
Dozens. Well, wait, let's see.
16.
Dozens that's a lot of trash.
That is a lot of. Well, it's 5d8, which I guess is 5 bolts. Yeah, 5 bolts.
Wow.
Felt like dozens for sure.
She stands there and just lets out this like scream in the woods.
Wait! Don't move. I have an extra. Oh wait, shit. Never mind.
Yeah, she just reaches around with like a shaking hand and just starts ripping them out one by one. Like drops it, rips out another one. My dress! Throws it on the ground, takes out her wand and just starts negative energy into herself. She shouts out into the darkening woods. That was rude!
Yeah.
Very rude!
Oh, we better intervene in this. Someone's bound to get hurt.
Well, yeah, Lady Evelyn would be. It's not like anyone else here to hurt, except us. Well.
Yeah, she's gonna start using that wand of inflict wounds on herself.
While she's doing that, and with the knowledge that there are traps around, Emaírel is going to just like what's it called? Canvas the ground slowly, making sure that nothing else is there.
Okay. While you do that, I will need a perception check from Evelyn as well, and from Emaírel, obviously. No, you don't see any further tripwires, and if it's any consolation, the one that Evelyn tripped was also pretty well hidden. Like, better hidden than you would hide something from animals, I would say. The way that is obvious to you with that high of a perception. Evelyn, as you like angrily throw those bolts to the ground, you like yell at one of them in frustration, and you notice that there is some substance smeared on its tip.
She's going to I don't know what she's gonna detect magic on it first.
Okay.
You-
It has no aura.
Interesting. Is it? I suppose Aronax at this point will try to approach and say, is it something that what I think it is? It is. Could they be poisoned?
Okay, give me a craft alchemy. No, you don't think so, and you don't think it's alchemical at all.
Interesting. Is it
Evelyn looks at the flowers.
a natural extract of sorts then? As says, wonders Aronax as he considers using his knowledge nature.
Okay. And while, okay, well, one thing at a time. So, Evelyn is looking at the flowers after handing the bolt to Aronax, and yeah, give me a knowledge in nature.
Aronax?
No, Evelyn for interacting with the flowers. You don't recognize them. It does kind of irritate your fingers as you carefully rub the leaves.
Oh wait, sorry, that was Montiano. Evelyn's equally unaware of nature. Actually, less so.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, you don't recognize him, but somebody has made sure that the mouth of the corpse is full of that stuff. It's really stuffed in there. And Aronax,
They were purple flowers, right?
yes, they are purple indeed. Aronax, you continue to look at that substance, but do you have ranks in knowledge arcana?
Of course, I have plenty of them.
All right, roll for that.
I clicked.
Okay. No, nothing comes to mind because, as Evelyn has already pointed out, it is not, at least not at this moment, potent in terms of magical energy. So
Interesting.
hard to tell what it was.
What's
But since it's not a chemical in nature, you think that it's probably the residue of something arcane.
What about knowledge local to understand like the whole
Yeah,
arrangement of things here?
sure, that's a good idea. Although I think as an Ustalavian, it's fairly obvious
Yeah.
well, yeah.
to everyone, and especially with that high of a roll. Yeah, you think that whoever crucified this person at least thought that they were a werewolf. You know from, not from experience, but from local tales, that werewolves revert to their human form when they die. So there's no way to tell if he actually was a werewolf. And even though you don't recognize the plant, you have heard that some people think that a toxic plant called wolfsbane is is like a common cure for the curse of lycanthropy, and can also be used to drive off werewolves.
Yeah, and she will say, "Well, I've never seen it myself, but I assume this must be wolfsbane, and this unfortunate fellow was at least presumed a werewolf." She's gonna take a really close look at that dagger before touching it.
Perception.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this forest is famed for heavy infestation of the creatures.
It's a fine dagger. It's it actually is silver, and it is masterwork quality. So you can tell by all the fine decorations and carvings. It's a precious item.
Yeah, Evelyn is gonna yank that out of the chest and take a look at the blood.
So, wait a minute. Are you sure do you want to do that? It is. I mean,
Yeah, there's a sort of sickening cracking sound when you pull it out, like almost like an uncorking sound. But the but but the blood is all dried up at this point, and kind of brownish on the blade.
It was only to see how old this is, okay? How does it look like this corpse has been here a while, or
Give me a second. It's been here. Well, it's like I said, it's already dark and brown, so it's definitely not from this night. But it's also the body has not been decayed, hasn't been eaten by anything really. So you would think between last night and 2 days ago or something.
Emaírel is going to grab one of the bolts and focus on it and see if anything comes to mind.
Well, I don't think the cheating ability applies here because it's not actually an item. So but if you have ranks in Knowledge Arcana, you can try that.
I'll try Knowledge Arcana, but I think I should at least get some sort of impression from it, even if it's not magical.
Okay, I see.
Let
I see
me.
what you mean. Yeah.
While this is happening, could Geier give a closer examination of the body?
Oh, okay.
I'll wait. I'll wait my turn.
For Emaírel, you. Oh right, you have this ability where you get like into the history of the item, right? And you get some. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you do get some flashes of like picking it up and focusing on it makes you kind of giddy and happy and just proud, like the proud of a hunter, a pride of a hunter who has taken down an impressive trophy.
Right.
Formidable foe.
Yeah, that sort of feeling. And you realize that the residue on the tip is probably, or it probably used to be, a dose of silver sheen, which is now inert because it's been too long.
Okay.
And I think you know what silver sheen is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And while you're focusing on the bolt, Geier takes a closer look at the body. Yeah, but like I said, it's a naked body of a man, but died by the wound inflicted with the silver knife.
No unusual signs like stretch marks or anything that would hint at transformation. Not that Geier would know, but anything that stands out of the ordinary.
No.
Oh.
But you wouldn't expect that because it's a supernatural transformation. So you wouldn't expect there to be physical manifestations of that.
You never know.
Yeah.
Evelyn's just going to work on cleaning the dagger off. She has no idea what its value might be, but she assumes it's a lot.
Okay, so anything else you want to do here, or should we move on?
Well, I suppose we were Geier was going to give the final raise to the man, so I suppose Arronax might as well help him to cut him down and lay him on the ground, at least, if that is his intention.
Alejandro?
Sorry, I was just looking at my spells. What?
I mean, are you going to give him the last rites? Should we cut him down?
Yes. Evil or not, nobody deserves to be just around like this to rot.
All right. Yeah, like Arronax will try to.
Yeah. So you managed to roll a -1 on your second attack. Anyway, you cut him down. You dig a shallow grave near the trail, and then you put him in, and you allow him the last rites of Pharasma before you pack up and hit the road again.
Wait. Are we not gonna try and figure out who shot at Lady Evelyn?
Well, it was.
Oh no, it was a tripwire, Geier.
Oh.
I should have been paying closer attention.
It was a crossbow over there.
Even
Someone sent a-
tripwire just like that. That seems irresponsible. What if some innocent bystander, i.e. us, trip on it?
Well, I suppose that was the idea.
I think we should find the nearest town and have a stern word with whoever's responsible for this.
How far are we from the lodge at this point?
Maybe a day and a half. And you've also been traveling for a day and a half or so.
Well, Geier, we can either head back to Lepidstadt to complain, or head to the lodge and complain. So, either way.
I thought you would be more upset about this.
Well, I am gonna have to get Hannah to patch up this dress for me, but I can let bygones be bygones. She's kind of like being a little sheepish, trying to brush off the fact that she like brought this on herself. Don't no need to fret over a simple hunter's trap. It didn't even hurt that bad, really. There were only 5 bolts.
My issue with hunters is sometimes they don't care what they hunt. I've been a child.
If there was a child out wandering these woods,
It would be,
I don't think they would be so innocent.
or would be a child for long. Oh well. Whoever this poor fellow is, he will probably now at a more calm place. So let's not linger here. Who knows what else the hunters left. And it's getting cold, don't you feel?
Maybe?
Okay. So, yeah. From here, you continue on your journey. Through this dark, terrifying wood, following the winding trail until you finally get to your, at least, temporary destination. The Ascanor Lodge. The lodge itself is way bigger than you would have expected. It's large, decadently appointed. It's more of a manor right here, deep in the heart of the Shadowwood. and it is obviously a retreat for the wealthy and the upper class of Ustalav. Almost a relic from the times of the rule of the noble class. The lodge itself is surrounded by a wooden palisade, and that palisade really only has one entry, which is the main gate. So, I'm assuming that you approach the main gate first, right?
Yep, announcing ourselves the normal way.
Okay. So you bring the carriage up in front of the main gate, step out, knock on the wooden gate.
Hang on, sorry, 1 second, Simon. The letter that I spent time looking
Yes,
at, did that have
again,
anything else about the lodge? Or...
yes, you do figure out a tiny little bit more, which is that it was a reservation for a man named Echtmoor at the Escanor Lodge.
Oh.
Mhm.
And what is it in decent condition, this letter?
No, it's in terrible shape, blood-soaked, and everything.
Is it dated at all or anything like that?
Well, it's current. It's from not too long ago. He
Okay.
probably died on his way there, you would think.
Okay. Emaírel, would you mind having a chat with me before we head in?
Sure.
Do you actually want to go to the room next door for that? Step out of the coach with me
Okay.
for just a moment.
Rude.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I guess.
There we go.
Okay. So Evelyn and Emaírel returns sometime soon after. What do you do?
Suppose we should knock?
Okay. So you knock on the wooden front gate, and soon some guards open. Not just one, or at least you don't see just one. You see that there is, in fact, a little gatehouse that leads onto the compound, where it looks like there are even living quarters of some kind in there, and there's, you would think, half a dozen guards who are working here, which is probably not the worst idea, this deep in the woods. And one of the guards approaches you with the portcullis lowered, opening just the wooden gate, leaving the portcullis down. You can look past him and you see the marvelously appointed manor and the elegantly set up park-like garden around it. But still, there's this metal portcullis in the way, keeping you away from the comforts that this lodge surely has to offer. And the guard just kind of roughly says, "Who are you? What is it?"
I suppose out here so far from civilization, I'll have to do the announcing myself. My name is Lady Evelyn of House Throd. I'm here to take in the comforts of your lodge. Perhaps do a bit of sport hunting.
And he looks you up and down. And he says, "Lady, huh? Well, invitation, please."
And Evelyn reaches into her like a purse and pulls out an invitation, hands it over.
And he takes it through the iron bars of the portcullis, opens it up, and he reads it. His lips move slightly as he reads it, and then he goes. He takes another look at Evelyn. Quick glance at the rest of the gang. He says, "All right, just wait here." And he steps away with the invitation in hand and walks towards the manor and out of sight. And soon after, another man appears, a halfling, which should have popped up on your screen, who is well dressed, tidy, very officious, and he is holding the invitation that Evelyn produced in his hands, and he's kind of like folding it every now and then, playing with it in his hands nervously as he looks up at Evelyn from behind the portcullis, and he says, I am very sorry, but I have not seen you here before. Would you kindly explain who you and your fellow travelers are, and what your purposes for your visit?"
Oh, well, as my invitation indicated, I am Lady Evelyn of House Throd, and these other gentlemen here are my entourage.
We are
As he says, forgive him, he's not very polite, doesn't know that the help speaks to when addressed. So, we are here as the invitation indicated, on invitation to take in the lovely sights, the natural wonders, the beauty of the Shudderwood, as you will. A little retreat from the hecticness of Lepidstadt. Perhaps you heard about some of the consternation going on there. It was really not to my tastes.
He says, and he looks again at the invitation, pursing his lips pensively, and he peruses it again, taking forever. It feels like minutes, and finally he says, I apologize for any misunderstanding, but as the porter of Ascona Lodge, I cannot permit you entrance at this time. You do not have reservations in our books, and despite your claims, I have no evidence to justify allowing strangers into the lodge. From the looks of your help, unlike the rest of my guests, you haven't come here to take a peaceful retreat. I want no trouble, so off with you all, and take whatever troubles you bring somewhere else.
Master Porter, do you have a manager that I can speak to? Is there perhaps someone higher up in the hierarchy of the lodge who maybe could explain to me What in my invitation makes it unclear that I belong here?
Today is the day we learned that Lady Evelyn's actual name is Karen.
And meanwhile,
You did read
as
it
you
thoroughly, didn't you?
and he as the little discussion goes on, it draws some of the attention of some of the lodge's guests, and a small crowd is starting to gather near the gatehouse, just within earshot. We'll happen to be there. It's not like anybody is interested in rumors or so stuff. And you spot some very finely dressed folks out there. Um,
Do I recognize any of them?
uh, give me a knowledge and ability check.
Okay.
24, that's pretty good. Indeed, you do recognize some of them. So you see this fine lady, who you recognize as Marquisa Valgori, who is in her early 40s, and she's married to an older, quite wealthy husband, which is why you know of her, because it's a little bit scandalous, because their marriage is said to be mostly a business proposition. And yeah, but nevertheless, she is quite rich and powerful, although her title is a little overblown.
Do I know her title?
Marquisa,
Oh,
That's-
her Marquisa is her title. Okay.
that is her title. Yeah, it's Marquisa, and her husband would be the Marquise.
Got it.
Yeah. So you recognize her. You also recognize another elderly gentleman who looks like this, whose name is Silas Graydon, the Margrave of Sternida. He's a retired military commander who served under Count Nezhka of Barstoy, and he's sort of infamous for the ruthless brutality of his martial strategies, and he's almost universally loathed by citizens of both Ardil and Barstoy, because he was during the Civil War. Graydon broke with Nesca and openly denounced him as a tyrant, an act that many credit as one of the causes behind Nesca's retreat from Ardil. So he's a major figure in the history of this part.
Was Count Nashka by any chance a lizard man?
A lizard man. Oh! No, no relation.
That was years later. Years later.
Let's see.
Yeah. So these two you immediately recognize, and there's a couple of their entourage probably that you don't immediately recognize. Okay, but as I said, so they're starting to gather just to be able to overhear without being too obvious about trying to overhear. And you try to convince Bailey to let you talk to the manager. Okay, so give me a diplomacy check, please.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, yeah, I'll just do straight diplomacy. I don't suppose there's any way to surreptitiously be casting spells at this point.
Well, I mean, we have.
Not.
Nah,
Yeah, we have.
hardly
cards.
in plain sight.
Yeah, we have tarot cards.
Yeah, no. I do have the card, but I have a good feeling.
Nice.
That's a good feeling.
Okay. And he says, so it's a little bit of a back and forth, of course, at first, because he insists, like, well, I'm also, it's in the interest of the safety and security of our guests. And Evelyn is going to be pushing the whole, well, who do you think you're talking to narrative. And finally he sighs and he says, oh, well, I guess it would be considered most impolite to just keep you out there and out in the cold waiting while I talk this through with the warden. So, all right. And he nods to the guards who open the portcullis, and he steps aside and he says, please make your way into the grand hall and have a seat and a hot beverage, and I will make haste to fetch the warden to clear up this misunderstanding.
Mhm.
And as you make your way inside, the guards are about to lower the portcullis behind you when a voice rings out across the courtyard, and a rough and tumble-looking woodsman heads for the gate, followed by a young noble dressed in finely tailored, studded hunting leathers. I'll show you pictures of these two. We have this guy, and we have this guy. And the first one that I showed you growls at the guards, oh, just hold the gate, heading out. And despite the commotion, the two men push through the crowd, oblivious to anyone else's concerns. Several scruffy-looking hirelings follow behind them, leading a pair of horses and carrying wooden crates marked with heraldic symbols. And as they shuffle past, the woodsman calls back to the noble, for the last time, Duristan, I'll take you there, but I ain't bringing my dogs.
I tug at whoever's closest to me. Emaírel.
What?
I think this Duristan Arisir, I think that one, he was at the funeral.
Really?
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm quite certain.
And the guy says, as the woodsman says, but I'm not bringing my dogs, the nobleman says, oh, come on, Delgros. I'm sure they would love to get some exercise, and would better exercise than to hunt the most dangerous prey. And then he catches sight of the lot of you, and he looks at Evelyn and politely nods, and he says, oh, didn't see you there. Hello, my lady. And then he looks at her entourage, and he stops, and he cocks his head, and he says, excuse me, have we met before? Delgros, I'll be right up. Just wait a second. And Delgros just kind of snarls as he gets the hunting outfit ready to leave. He's turning towards Geier and Emaírel and the doctor. We have met, haven't we? At the funeral,
Was he
right?
I knew it.
Was he actually at the funeral?
I mean, Geier doesn't say that out loud. Believe we have.
You are friends of Lorimor, aren't you?
Well,
But we are, and how may we say you know our esteemed professor?
Oh, well, the professor has been a font of information on the local wildlife, I have to say. And I am a gifted hunter, and I have been gathering trophies in these dark woods for decades now. Oh, it was so sad when I got the news of his passing. what was your connection? We didn't actually get a chance to talk at the funeral, if I recall correctly.
I'm a gravedigger.
That sounds
Oh,
exactly
so
like what he would say.
So you were only there for professional reasons?
Oh no, the professor needed my services on occasion.
Well,
Oh, I see. I didn't know that the professor was into that sort of business.
well,
Oh, the professor was quite adept in many disciplines. Full of surprises, our professor.
that is absolutely true.
He sure was. He sure was. And from the gate, the grisly-looking woodsman calls out, "Duristan, you're coming? Or you gotta stay inside and near the fireplace." And
Lord
Dur-
Lord Erisir, before you go, will you be staying long at the lodge?
I am terribly sorry, my lady. Where are my manners? Yes, I am a guest of this fantastic lodge, and I have enjoyed its comforts for a few days now, but we are heading out. There is an fascinating opportunity, and I'm sorry, my lady. I'm sure we will have a chance to talk later on when we return. But and then he turns to the other three again. I would love to talk more to you as well about our dear friend, the professor. What do you say? Why don't you just uh, fall in with me? I can always need more arms for the hunt.
Hmm.
Um,
She would have to. She would have to take the help along.
Yeah.
The manager, though,
Hmm.
it's a chance to complain. Oh, very well. I suppose we're not too worn out from our day's travel, are we, gentlemen?
Well, Aronax is not enthused on this, but it's not like we're going to have a rest in here without a manager, right? But
how far out are you planning on hunting?
I don't know exactly how far we're going because Delgros told me of this opportunity, and um, it's he will take us there. I don't think it will be too far, but we'll certainly stay overnight. And I fully understand, my lady, if this is um, not up to your standards. Of course, there it will be rough up there.
Oh, on the contrary, sounds fascinating, and I'm always one for taking in a bit of the local flavor, as you say. Don't mind a little rough and tumble. I have my own collapsible tub with me, so it shouldn't be a problem.
He raises an eyebrow. He says, "Indeed. Well then." And again, the woodsman calls out, "Duristan, we're all ready. Please come with me. It will be a treat."
Uh, shall we?
Come on, I'll treat you to dinner when we get back. I'll pay for your room.
oh, well, sure. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Come on, Emaírel. Let's find out. Let's spend some time with Lord Geier here, who was a good friend of Lorimor's. Seems worth getting to know him a little better. Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, sure.
All right then.
Okay.
Before the coach turns around and we start heading out into the woods, Lady Evelyn does one of these to the to Bellic. Yeah.
Yeah, the halfling just stands there awkwardly, lips pursed, all clenched up. Okay, so but the coach doesn't really get to come along, as you'll either go on foot or you'll be needing horses of some kind.
Oh,
So
does the lodge have horses?
Well, there's the horses that we brought for the cart.
They're not appropriate for trails, though. Those are
No.
fine horses for.
Yeah. But the
pulling a
lodge does provide those services. I mean, that's what it's there for. It outfits hunting expeditions. So the woodsman, who you learn is called Delgros Kreutzer, is providing or is saddling up some more horses for you, and getting them ready to leave. And as you're waiting for him to be done with that, just outside the gates of the lodge, Durstan leans in, and his eyes are gleaming when he says, "By the way, we're gonna hunt werewolves."
Well, I was about to ask.
I mean, when they
Yeah.
said the most dangerous prey, I thought they meant humans.
Oh, no.
No,
No,
I
no.
don't say that out loud.
No, but I am certain that it was a werewolf out there. You know, I am something of a werewolf hunter, actually. I am very good at it. And earlier today, Delgros took a small party of patrons into the woods on a hunt that ended with a horrific slaughter of the golden buck that he and the guests were pursuing. And the sight of the stag's flayed carcass actually terrified all of the participants of that hunt, so that they fled back to the lodge in a panic and told everyone that the devil in grey was flying among the guests. I'm sure it's nothing like that at all, but it definitely sounded like werewolf activity. So we're going out there, and we're going to catch it, and we're going to kill it.
Have you ever killed one before?
Oh, plenty. Many of them. A couple of days ago, I nailed one of them to a tree. Left a nice little present there as well if his friends try to free him.
Yeah. Quaint.
Evelyn kind of tucks that dagger that she's got around a little, hiding it under the folds of her, I guess her traveling tunic or whatever sort of fancy cloak she has for being on the road.
Mm-hmm. All right. So soon after, he lets you in on the real purpose of the hunt. Delgros returns with the horses all saddled, and everybody mounts up, and you begin to trot in a westerly direction. After a few miles, you reach the spot where the dead stag was found. The trail leads to a small clearing where the trampled ground and snapped brush show signs of a great struggle. The soil is soaked with blood, and more has splashed upon the tree trunks and leaves. And despite the telltale evidence, Delgros's jaw drops and his eyes dart wildly with shock at the situation. "It's gone," he cries. And he immediately starts yelling commands at the various teamsters and helpsters around, and he organizes a frantic search of the immediate area. He says, "Look for it. It's got to be somewhere. Some sort of sign where it went." And everybody starts spreading out in search for hints. Do you want to help?
Sure, why not?
Might as well get involved.
Yeah.
Sure.
Survival.
Yep,
is-
perception. Exactly. Oh,
It's nighttime, right?
yes, it is.
Yep.
Perception or survival, both would work.
I will try survival.
Okay. Yeah, but it'll certainly be Evelyn who notices at least 2 distinct sets of prints in the clearing, besides those of the stag. Unfortunately, most are only partial prints, and all of them are badly trampled. But the most striking are large, wolf-like prints, twice the size of a typical wolf's prints. And you can give me a knowledge and nature check, Evelyn?
I mean, I'm untrained, but I can.
Or if you point it out, do you point it out when you find them? Or do you?
Yeah, she would. She
Yeah.
would certainly speak up.
Okay, once you do that, of course, Duristan is immediately by her side, and he says, "Oh, my lady, that is amazing! Good eye, good eye! Now, step aside and let an expert handle it."
Oh,
And
it's of course, Durstan. It's a miracle I spotted anything in the dark.
Mhm. And he ignores you as he looks. He like goes down on the ground and looks at the tracks in a very exaggerated fashion. Says, "They look like wolf prints, don't they? They might be wolf prints. Thick, ho 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 ho, and they're big, amazing."
Oh, they are exceptionally large, Durstan. Are you sure it's safe?
And Evelyn, you realize that they are not consistent with what you would expect from a normal lycanthrope hybrid print. They look more like dire wolf tracks, but with strange, elongated claws. So very, very big, yeah.
Yeah.
And yep.
Yeah. Are you quite sure that this is safe for us, Lord Durstan?
Don't worry, lady. We're all here to protect you. Don't worry. But what about these? These look different. They're not as big. They don't even look like wolf prints. And the second said, I will need another knowledge nature check.
Allow me. Arronax will just lean over them with his 2 meters of height and say, "Well, if I'm allowed to make a guess, it would be so what would it be?"
You would say those are boar prints, but great boar prints, like very big.
Yeah.
And you also, earlier when you were looking through the area with your survival check, you also noticed a swath of crushed scrub and brush, as if something had been dragged off into the wood.
I see. Well, Arronax in that case will indeed share his assumptions that, well, this seems to be a hoof print of a giant boar or a similar beast that is might be working in this forest. I think it went over there.
Good guess, my clever friend. It sure does look like boar. Well, it's not a werewolf, but still makes for a nice trophy. Let's find it.
Could it be a wereboar?
And he follows the trail and runs almost right after or right into the direction that Arronax had pointed out. And Delgris watches him run off and gets like very jumpy as the guest sort of, moves away from his immediate sphere of influence, so he can't protect him. And he goes, "Everybody, grab your stuff and let's get going." And he runs right after. And yeah, assuming that you also chase after him, you catch up to him pretty soon when he holds up a hand for you to be quiet. And up ahead in the distance, you see 3 giant wild dire boars that are feasting on the carcass. And he says, he goes, "Hush, hush, 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 hush." And then he takes his bow, notches an arrow, and shoots before giving everybody a chance to move into position or anything. The arrow finds its mark, hits one of the boars, but of course, creatures of that size don't get shot by one arrow and die. So instead, all three of them just raise their gore-soaked heads from their feast and grab, and charge and attack. And I don't really want to play out this fight on a map, so we're just gonna assume that you're able to handle that. But the way that this fight goes is that Duristan is eagerly shooting arrows at the boars, while Delgros is having a hard time making sure that everybody stays safe and keeps their distance to the boars. He kind of expertly manages to keep everyone out of their charging range, so that they never get a clear path to like ram their teeth into anyone. While Duristan just tries to catch a trophy and is not thinking about anything but the score. However, one way or another, the boars are put down, and I'm sure you, because of your help as well.
I'm just gonna say the whole time Evelyn is using her stare, and whenever Duristan is scoring a hit, she's using her painful stare to just deal a little extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going, "Oh, good shot! Well struck, Lord."
Okay, so how are the other gonna join the fight? Are they gonna join the fight?
Emaŕel is mostly going to just position himself defensively and like brace his spear in case one of the boars decided to charge him.
Protecting the Duristan, or who are you mostly protecting?
I would say my group.
Okay.
Geier will approach Duristan and then go like, just in case, what kind of rites should I prepare? And actually not contribute to the hunt because it's not of interest to him.
Yeah, and well, considering that the sight of giant boars will probably trigger some flashbacks to some unappetizing worm ladies in Dr. Arronax, he will just light up the night with some flashy bombs. And well,
okay. And when you throw the first bomb, Duristan is gonna yell, "No! It totally ruins the trophy!" Are you gonna still throw those bombs, or are you gonna stop doing that?
Yeah. I think in this case, I will not stop throwing bombs. It will. I mean,
Okay.
And whenever Arronax throws another bomb, Evelyn's like, "Boo, boo!"
Okay.
No skill whatsoever.
Okay.
It's just touch AC.
Yeah. So still, as inelegant as the bombs may be, they are certainly efficient, and the boars are put down quickly, without anybody getting too hurt. But Duristan is a little upset with Arronax, and once the boars are down and the members of his hunting party start cutting up the carcass and preparing the trophies, he turns to the doctor and he says, "I'm sorry, I know you're new to this, but you can't just ruin the entire animal. You have to respect your prey, You can't just blow it up. It's very, very primitive, I have to say."
Question on that regard: does respect is a show to respect to nail it alive?
Nail it?
Well,
what do you mean, nail it?
Well, you did mention that last werewolf you found, you nailed to a cross and left a little surprise for his friends.
And nailed it to a tree. Yes, of course I did. They were werewolves. That's a very different thing.
It's still a hunt.
It is a hunt, but they're creatures of pure evil. They're the most dangerous out there. And
if you killed it, wouldn't you be the most dangerous?
I am a very skilled hunter, of course, and it is the place of man and of noblemen in particular to be above the common flock. So I do not fall into the same category.
One last question. I'm really sorry I'm trying to learn. See, I'm just part of the help. But when you say man, is that just humans, or does that include the rest of us?
Oh,
Trying to understand my place, of course.
There are some very noble elves that I have met, and half elves, I guess, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, half elves and elves, and
Yes.
no
Anyway,
mention of
Some of his best friends are elves.
Anyway, and the conversation gets visibly uncomfortable for Duristan because he doesn't want to be openly rude, but at the same time he can't bring himself. He can't bring himself to say something nice about half orcs. So he turns to the rest of the hunting party. And he says, "So, could you save anything?" And he inspects his trophy, and he shakes his head, and he looks around, and he says, "This is truly, truly sad. We're so close. And then he goes over to inspect the carcass of the stag, and he kind of prods at it. Doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. And he just keeps sighing frustratedly.
What seems to be the matter?
It's just look what they left here. How is anyone going to be able to tell what happened here with those boars and then the bombs? And it's just... And he throws a little bit of a fit about the state of the carcass. I'm sure we would have been able to tell whatever brought it down, and now it's hardly anything left.
Well,
But sorry, go ahead.
no, could some of our professional skills be of use in this moment? I mean, I am just an improvisational surgeon, but it seems that my skills were adequate lately. I mean, can we at least observe not observe, analyze the remains of this golden stag?
All right, you want to give me a heal check?
Not as cool.
Yeah, he's right. It's in a bad shape, and he kind of throws a little bit of an annoyed comment in Arronax's direction. He says, "Yeah, look at what you did. It's all blown to bits."
Well, as long as it's not we are, so...
Yes, I guess you're right. Anyway,
as long as we aren't. Sorry.
well, but I still am certain that werewolves were involved in this. I just know they were. They must have. What else could have done this? Not the boars. They can be as stealthily as that, and just flay the stag almost out of thin air. Just impossible. I know I'm sure they're gonna come back. I bet they're gonna come back. I think Delgros just put up the tent, and we'll stay the night. And Delgros,
What a dire situation this is that we've found ourselves in, without any hint of where the wolves could have gone. So dire. These wolves missing.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, Lady Evelyn. Indeed. Delgros, And then Delgros snarls back, "This is a fool's errand, Duristan. We're packing up. We're going back to the lodge before it gets too dark." And Duristan stomps his foot. He says, "No, no, we will stay." And Delgros walks over to him, walks up real close to him, and he looks in his face and he says, "I'm here to protect you. And if you stay here by yourself, you'll probably die. And I won't have anybody else out here with you. So you can come with us back to the lodge, or you can stay here and die." And then he turns around and continues packing up the expedition. And Duristan just stands there like jaw dropping, and he said, I will talk to the warden about this. Can you believe this?" he says, turning to Lady Evelyn.
Yeah, as it so happens, we were just calling to meet the manager, right?
The ignorance, as these common folk, they get uppity out here, away from the city. You know, they think that they're on the same level as us.
They do, don't they? They do. Finally, somebody who understands. Anyway, so I'm afraid we won't be having tents for our stay here, he says towards the lot of you. But I, of course, have I know a few things about building shelter out in the woods, being an expert survivalist. So I think it will be comfortable enough. I still fully understand, my lady, if you wish to join those cowards and go back to the lodge with them.
So, Mr. Silver is determined to sacrifice his life on this hunt.
Evelyn is going to turn to the others and say, I'm sorry, my lord. Let me see if I can speak to the help a little bit. Just one moment." And she's gonna kind of pull everyone aside, and she's gonna be like, "Should we do this?"
I'm very optimistic on this point. On one hand, I feel bad just leaving him here.
I'm more curious to see where this goes.
On the other hand, it is very obviously suicide.
Yes, he's a very prideful sort of fool, isn't he?
He is. Can we? I don't know. Put him unconscious and just sling him on the horse or something. I mean,
we're not going to earn his friendship that way.
We'll say it's a bear did it.
While you're discussing that option, you look over where he was standing, and he's already busy talking up some of the hirelings, and you even see him hands over some gold, with Delgros shaking his head, and he gets some of the hirelings to help stay, and he's directing them to set up camp. And
can I try to convince Delgros to stay?
You could try, sure. Just by diplomatically talking to him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try.
Okay, go for it.
Uh,
Any particular angle that you're trying to get him to stay, or just asking nicely?
I'm going to ask nicely, and kind of play up how absolutely innocent of the natural world I am. Like, this lady is clearly going to die if I leave her here, kind of thing. And maybe also point out that that it's not going to be great for his reputation around the lodge if he's known for abandoning nobles in the woods. So just gonna kind of take that tact.
Okay. And he listens while packing up his stuff after having his back to you. And But when you bring in the more
More emotional blackmail.
the parts about his reputation and that stuff, he sighs and he turns around and he says, "My job is to keep these fools safe, and if he's not following my instructions, then there's no way for me to do my job. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna risk the life of my people for his stupidity. If you want to stay, go ahead and stay." And then he goes to his pack, and he gets a few vials out, and he puts them in your hand. He says, if the fool's right and some of the werewolves actually show up, put this on your blades and on the tips of your bolts and arrows, and it'll give you a fighting chance. And he gives you, I think, 2 vials. Let me check. Yes, 2 vials of silver sheen.
Okay. Evelyn's gonna kind of like very quietly thank him and like make it clear as she's doing so that like she understands what he's saying and like where he's coming from. Like she kind of drops like the la 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 ditzy thing for a second and like thanks him.
All right. So are you gonna set up camp with him?
Well, apparently we are.
All right. Okay.
I don't think Geier would know how to set up a wilderness camp. We'll just try to not get in the way as much as possible.
Okay. So the hirelings unpack, set up the camp. Duristan directs them, splits them into pairs, tells them to bait the perimeter, which means putting out baited traps, and tells them, puts them into positions to keep watch. And you watch them pull several silver-toothed wolf traps and hunks of raw meat from the saddlebags. And you get the sense that this is not the first time that they did this, as they set up the small camp. And Duristan stands in the middle of all of this, and he has one of the hirelings bring him a little wooden box that he opens up, and he takes a couple of crystal glasses, little snifters, out of that box, and he hands them to Lady Evelyn and to Arronax, and he offers them to Geier and Emaírel too, and takes out a bottle of exquisite Ustalavic brandy and opens it, and he says, "I am sorry about my poorly chosen words earlier." And he pours everyone a nice glass. "I was under the adrenaline of the hunt, the rush of having taken an animal down. I'm sorry if my frustration got the better of me. I'm very glad that you decided to stay here with me. It will be, I'm sure it will be a glorious tale." And yeah, he pours everyone some, and then says, "Please, have a seat. And I'm sure that we will have some time before the camp is set up. And tell me about what you've been doing ever since the funeral."
Well, that's we've been keeping company to dear Professor Lorimore's daughter for a while, at least.
Oh yeah. Sweet Kendra, very very nice girl. Yes. I hope she's well.
When we left her,
Well, she seemed to be doing as well as one can hope for.
Okay, so he fills up your glasses if you let him. Like I said, the brandy is exquisite, and he's gonna continue the conversation like about what you've been doing, and he's gonna try and you notice that what he wants to hear is stories of hunting, of fighting tough creatures and stuff like that. Are you willing to humor him, or is it just going to be small talk?
It's gotta be small talk on Geier's part. He doesn't have any. Not only does he not have any other stories, but he doesn't really like Duristan and feel like indulging him.
Evelyn will play it up, and she'll play up the party's exploits, and even Geier, on his behalf, she'll explain how he used his wicked cunning to drop a fey creature into a vat of acid. And
It's not hunting, that's fighting.
She'll portray it as hunting because we're on the trail of this the serial killer, truly a fearsome beast, not even a man, fey creature. You should have seen his vile visage, and how we tracked this guy down to his lair, and did away with him, and kind of other similar tales.
Yeah. My memory, though, more lingers on that undead fiend that was dwelling under a hill, right? Remember? I don't know what a wild thing that was.
The ghost thing?
Yeah.
The scarecrow, when we went, under the scarecrow hill.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. And he listens to those stories.
It drained the life of living girls. And then we drained his life as well.
And he listens to those stories, and he just drinks it all up, and he's giggling. He's like enjoying them immensely, congratulating everyone involved, and like every time somebody's name comes up, he like slaps their shoulder, or slaps them on the back. He says, "Good work, God, excellent! Oh man, that was a close call." And really in the moment of all of these stories, and then he starts, and he always starts talking or bringing back the discussion about werewolf hunting, though, and he plays up how he's a very good werewolf hunter, and that he has slain 3 of them already, which he's obviously quite pleased with. And at some point, he said, to punctuate his accomplishments, he says, "And I even, I can do that because I am actually protected from their vile curse." And he shows off his, what he calls a scar ward. And he shows off a strange scar on his shoulder, which he explains, "This was given to me by a witch. It grants immunity to the curse of lycanthropy. I could hire her for you if you want to protect yourselves. Back at lodge, I'll summon her." And he's already also quite intoxicated at this point, because the brandy in the bottle has been getting lower and lower.
Yeah. Quick detect magic, just to see if I detect any sort of like magical aura on him or his scar.
Okay. No.
Oh, that looks like a fearsome scar. That must have hurt terribly to have that carved into you.
Oh yes, but it is worth the price, because nothing is worse than the curse of lycanthropy. Imagine living your life just hiding out in the woods, driven by these primal instincts. All that's on your mind is just killing and death and the taking of innocent lives. It's horrifying. Anyway, he says, and he like stretches out a little bit. "Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there is nothing in that." And then you hear a sound. The first sound you hear is a gurgling, kind of from where one of the guards was supposed to be. They turn around, and then you hear another smothered scream, a horrid snarl from the other side where the guard was supposed to be. And then you hear footsteps, heavy. And you hear that snarl again. And there's a dragging sound. And the next thing that you hear is the slump, pluck, tuk, tuk, pluck. And into the light of your campfire rolls the head of one of the hirelings. And you look up, and in the twilight, you of the stars above, you behold a large werewolf. Here, I'll take you there. It's actually a quite fitting image. But as I said, this one is large in the sense that it's the size of a horse on its back feet, and it has blood all over its teeth and one of its claws. It is armed. It's in hybrid form right now, but it's very, very big, and it stands there a good distance away, and it's snarling, and it says, "Who dares to enter the Volenzak territory? Speak before I rip you to pieces."
Well, Lady Evelyn, it's your turn.
She kind of eyes Lord Duristan to see what his reaction is really quick. She like,
yeah, Duristan is just like the color has been drained from his face. He's taken by surprise. You realize that in the story of how he killed werewolves, he had always trapped them, and it's quite possible that this is the first time he's actually face to face with one, especially one that's so big.
She does a quick glance around at everyone else. Is like, are we completely like off guard here? Is anyone else in the party ready to handle this?
Well, I mean,
I imagine not.
Yeah, it's been days since we fought the worm, so my mutagen is back online. But I mean, what can we do with that thing now?
Would Lady Evelyn have gotten the chance to distribute the 2 silver sheen vials she had received before this,
Yep.
or
She probably would have.
okay? She probably. Well, Emaírel has a dagger, right? A magic dagger.
No, we sold that.
Of course we did. Why would we think we would need the shape changer bane dagger?
Yeah.
And then she would have handed off a silver sheen vial to him, and probably one to Mr. Montiano, on account of nobody else really uses a blade. And she's gonna look this werewolf up and down. Is he holding a giant weird sword like in the picture?
Yeah, well,
It's
a she, and yes.
She.
Yeah.
It looks like the Chaos Blade from God of War.
Yeah.
She is going to try to convey sufficient terror and say, "Oh, please, we had no idea that we were trespassing on territory. We were simply trying to find the hunter of this stag here. Please, we didn't mean anything by coming upon by. But we didn't mean to be. We can."
And as she starts that, assuming that she's trying to convey the fear, when in fact she's thinking of in a strategic way, she's trying to figure out how to take down this werewolf. But as she continues to talk like that, it becomes easier and easier for her to convey that panic when she sees more movement in the dark. and she hears werewolves of the same size, no longer interested in hiding their presence all around the camp. And she realizes that you've been surrounded by an entire pack of them until finally the leader of the pack cuts you off and she says, "Your false explanations are meaningless. Go tell whoever sent you to stay out of wolf affairs. Let him know that his dealings with Matus Mordrinacht and the Silverhide pack do not sit well with the other tribes of this wood. There shall be much blood spilt between our kin before a Silverhide pack lord sits upon high throne. Matus the betrayer shall never claim the title, and should you and yours continue to support him, the wrath of the wolf packs shall fall upon him. Now leave our territory and return to your cozy wooden den, or share the fate of these poor little sheep." And she, with one hand, picks up a body of one of the guards and just throws it in your direction, and it lands on the fire, blocking out most of the light of the fire. And then by the time your eyes have adjusted to the darkness, the wolves are gone out of sight. But instead of seeing the wolves, now you just hear them as one cry rings out at first, and then more wolves echo all over the woods until the entire Shadowwood seems to resound with the bone-chilling howls.
What have we?
And that's where we end for it.
What have we gotten ourselves into?
Do we have an idea of how many roughly did we see or hear?
Yeah,
A dozen
I'll
or
give you
maybe
I'll give you a number at some point, but many.
I'm gonna need a fully detailed
Yeah,
write up of what everything was that Wolf just said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
although I think one.
that's a bit of a
One
lore
is
dump
bringing
here.
enough.
Okay. So again,
All right.
she told you to stay out of wolf affairs. She told you to let whoever sent you know that his dealings with Matus Mordrinacht, which I posted in the chat, and the Silverhide pack, which is apparently their pack, the pack of Matus Mordrinacht, whoever that is, does not sit well with the other tribes of the wood. So there are at least 3 tribes, apparently, or packs. And there shall be much blood spilled between our kin before a Silverhide pack lord sits upon high throne, which is the third thing that she said.
So the real question is now, how, is it worth to mess with this business, or we should just be on our way?
Yeah, that's a good question. But we'll figure that out next time.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for one evening.
Yep.